move between worlds, rebirth, emerging in the spring from mom's little death, born tiny, naked, and blind, licking us into shape, making order out of chaos, dismembering, cleansing, strengthening, and reconstituting our skeleton, replacing old with new, lick them into shape, a radiant heart, a living symbol, heartbeat echoed and amplified interior pulsating of the drum, beating to the contraction and expanding of time. The first sounds we heard in the womb were our mother's heartbeat, enveloping and echoing the quicker beats of our own heart. Lick them into shape. Lick them into shape. Lick them into shape. Lick them into shape.
So you would assume that you included that video as an example of choreography of everyday life and things, real things.
I think what really strikes me about that film is like that it becomes this quite enormous feeling of nature and then this sense of huge naivety at the same time, and I can't work out if that's mine or the bears. And it just feels like this really overwhelming moment that can't be orchestrated, yet at the same time feels like somehow this little dance.
And so in that, is that something that you feel that you can channel, you can take those movements and then channel them into something that would be like a human movement?
I think that it would become more of a conversation in a way between bodies perhaps, or dancers or people, like how you can contrast this real wild brutality with something so sweet and tender. I guess that would become a discussion between two bodies if I were to think of that choreographically.
So like in the sense of inspiration, you might show that to dancers that you work with and then work out perhaps more of a mood than it would be a movement.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be a
bear mood.
or a bear movement so much, but yeah, I think it would be about, well, so much is at play with that, isn't there? There's this huge kind of maternal feeling. Or what was it that you said to me anyway when we were researching these bears? You looked into something about symbols of bears.
Just the meaning of bears and stuff.
Yeah, but what did you find?
It's this. So I mean, I think the like the archetypal meaning behind a bear or symbol of it is something that's very motherly and nurturing, but wild and strong at the same time. But I think maybe as a choreographer working with dancers and cultivating a group of people that you work with consistently, I would imagine there's probably a similar feeling to that, where it's like harnessing all of these people and gathering them together and putting them into a shape.
I definitely think in through that quite habitual language in a sense. For example, I know that I'm just thinking about this last week when I was working with the dancers, and there's a bit in it where it felt vital that they were being like macaques. You know the monkeys, the ones, and and it felt like there's this. Okay, so there's this one move, and it could either look like a scene from Chicago, or they could look like these macaques, and it was a fine line. And so I think that sometimes thinking about these things like the bears, or that sense of strength, or perhaps something much more primal or animalistic, reaches you at the more authentic place that you wish to travel.
Yeah. I mean, I think like in the sense of just making films and stuff, when you give direction, it's a lot more effective at times to give something that inspires people to behave a certain way, rather than give them a prescriptive, do it like this. This is exactly how it should look or feel.
But how would you do that?
I think by pretend a lot of times, like showing clips to people how that might look. Even if you're not asking them to recreate it exactly, I think it becomes a thing that then, the spirit of it is up to the person to interpret.
To interpret, okay. Yeah.
And I think, though, in a lot of the work that you can see in your work, each individual dancer almost occupies their own space in a way, and they seem very free to be expressing themselves to maybe one, particular theme, but they each carry their own identity in it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I think, for example, with my last live show with Cowpuncher, you know, there was a real narrative and thread that each character had, but then eventually I found having to let go of that. That dialogue is such a strict rule for all of them in a way, because suddenly then you're not really allowing the dance to exist as a single form. You're letting it exist with so much other garbage, really. And maybe I can't explain to you why that feels like that. Do you know what I mean a bit?
It's like more of like a temporal, like kind of physical thing,
Yeah,
in a sense of communicating that.
I think so. And I
But
think
like physically engaging with the audience and touching them in a way, even though you're not actually reaching out and smacking them.
Sorry.
You smacked me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Should we play the sacrifice?
What's the next one?
Let's play the sacrifice.
That's just really such a fucking insane clip.
I just feel like you see new things in that every time you watch it.
I think it's funny. It's like it would be funny to find out when exactly that was shot in the shooting schedule, if that was the last day, because it feels exactly what it feels like to be on the last day of a shoot,
Yeah.
taken away in an ambulance, and then they burn the house down and everything's
Yeah.
just over, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just like one of those things. I think it's so masterful, just the amount of narrative and story that's contained in one shot, and that many different characters all woven together. And where that sits in the film too is that it ends the film in this way of all this stress and tension and story had been building, and then everything just explodes kind of suddenly out of nowhere in the end. And then you just see where all of these characters kind of play off of each other, all in movement without words.
And just imagine the rehearsal. Just imagine the rehearsal for that. And I think what really strikes me about it is firstly the rehearsal, because in my head I'm like, how the fuck did they do that? And then secondly, I'm like, the commitment, the level of commitment that exists within it, because I mean, I can't imagine they could burn that house down more than once.
No, that was a one take, I think.
And then, but you know, I'm really not a big Tarkovsky expert whatsoever, but I know that that was his final film, and I think that sense of ending just feels so enormous, and it feels almost like he knew that, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I just noticed that time there was that beautiful panning shot where you see these bodies stood side by side, and then it goes over, and then it goes back, and they've all gone and made a new formation. It's the most elegant construction of shot.
But also in the sense that everybody was occupied a piece of the frame as an individual.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was never a moment that you didn't see where someone was in the entire thing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that takes
How much
weeks
is
of
rehearsal
blocking.
a part of your process?
Because
I mean, from shooting with you previously, that I can remember a lot of like, you almost put people in a position where you don't tell them what you're going to do, which I like and also hate, and you don't tell them what you're going to do, and so everyone finds themselves at this sense of immediacy, which I think is a beautiful way of working.
I think it's just, I like
But
to
also
keep
frightening.
people, I don't want to give anybody too much to think about. I
Right.
think, I want people to react and then just respond to what goes on. And I think in a lot of that, you know, there's sometimes rehearsal just to get people comfortable with things, just to have an idea of like hearing the music for the first time, or so they're not hearing that for the first time. I think you just figure out within whatever scene it is that you're constructing what the most important thing is that you need to get the most genuine reaction from. And that's what you keep a secret for the whole thing.
Right.
And you don't let anybody know what that is. And then I think then you orchestrate everything else around it that's not meaningless, but is just a piece of the puzzle. And then you then throw the random thing into it and then just see what happens.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you only get that reaction once, you know?
Yeah.
And I think so you can orchestrate
But
little
that's the
pieces
thing.
of it.
It's all about capturing the thing you can only get once. Much like this, in a way,
Yeah.
much like the Bears. You can't.
Well, I'm sure that they like slowly, just in the same like, you know, rehearsals that you would do with, you know, some of the sequences that are tonight and others, is that you'd walk people through it without full energy. You'd let them just kind of figure it out for themselves a little bit, and then kind of feel their own way through it, and then you set the house on fire, and then
Yeah, maybe.
everybody's got to really do it for real, you know.
I'm actually more ruthless than that. I think they have to try harder before we start. Anyway, I'm thinking now about this feeling of ending, and the feeling of an ending, and that makes me think about what you were telling me about the guy in the film Our Father, Painoso, and the guy, you know, reminiscing is not the word, over his father's death. What's the word?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a concept in Portugal called saudade, and so that's there's no translation into any other language for that word, and it's
Really?
this sense of longing that is, you know, somewhat enjoyable and somewhat sad, and it's a combination of nostalgia. It's a combination of wishing for something to happen in the future that you know won't. It's all these different things, and it's stemmed in something that it's such a transient country.
What's
that country,
the word?
Saudade. And it's been, you can Wikipedia it, and there's an image of a woman just staring out a window. And it's like rooted back to the explorers going away and never coming back and all that. But that was something that we talked to Firmeza in that film about, that there was he knew the word, of course, but he didn't know that there was no translation into any other language.
That's so
and it just made his
romantic.
mind, like he's just like, wow, that's so fucking crazy.
Let's
Because for
play
him,
it.
that's a second language, you know, to learn. Yes, let's play
true.
it. But wait, one other thing I want to say about just the bears to that.
Okay.
I think it's just a matter of you're going from, you know, natural animalistic movement into something that then you have human beings and you can tell stories with in their movement, because there's actual meaning attached to every little thing that they do. So then into Painoso, then I think it's an attempt to do something similar with a human being and tell a
see.
story through them
I see.
in a much less masterful way.
But in a way, they're all like little cubs, anyway, aren't they? Aren't we all little cubs? All right, let's play. Let's play it. Painoso, please.
E é religioso?
Eu não sou religioso, tenho fé em Deus só.
wasn't rehearsal in that one, hey?
In that dance sequence at the end, it's hard. That particular scene was one of those things that we had been talking about wanting to shoot something that had him dancing in it, because it's not necessarily what he's known to do, but there are videos of him on YouTube as a kid dancing, and he's just the most sensational dancer. We didn't quite capture that in that.
Is he like a sort of internet star for his dancing?
No, he's not quite there.
Should he be?
No, because he's like giving it up, and the footage doesn't quite live up to my description of it. But we wanted something like that, and then we had basically asked him to. It was like, we'll just get some like girls from the neighborhood, and you guys hang out, and like all dance together, and it'll be great. And he's like, guys and girls don't dance together.
Oh yeah, you
all the
told
guys
me.
dance together, and all the girls dance together, and we watch, they watch. That's how it works. And then I was like, all right. I was like, so what guys do you want to dance with then? And he's like, oh, I'll just call all the kids I used to dance with when I was like 12. And so he hadn't seen them in like 6 years, and he just started texting them. And within about a half hour, there was a line in front of the door of all of his friends that had come out.
They told them that you were making a film?
Yeah, he's like, his line for everyone was that these guys are making a film about my life. Like, he'd just tell everybody that. He's like, I don't know why, but they're making a film about my life. And so, but then we were walking around his little neighborhood, and we couldn't find any place with light, and we found that church. And we asked the woman to open up the...
This is in Portugal, PS, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We asked the woman who was there to open up the door so that we could have a little bit of light so that we could shoot this thing and stuff.
In the church?
And in the outside of the church, like just in the doorway or whatever. And she's like asking us questions, what are you guys doing? And then Fermez like, they're making a film about my life. And she was like, oh, this is beautiful. And then she opened up the doors and everything. But it was I think the first night that we shot, I had already been there for like about a month and a half before, making music with him and everything. And so in a sense, that was the rehearsal. It was just getting comfortable with everyone and getting to know the actual nuance of everyone's story and who they were and where they came from, the music that they made, and just taking that all into account and then constructing something that was sudden and kind of spontaneous around that.
How big a role does music play in your work? I mean, obviously it plays quite a big one in mine, but what about you?
I don't know. I kind of feel like I try to avoid it now,
right.
in a way. Like I always feel like it's a shortcut.
You don't ever, everything is written bespoke for what you do, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah? Almost?
Yeah, it has been the past, the past three films.
And were they dancing to that track, or did you write that track over?
No, no, we recorded that before, and then they danced to that track.
Did they like it?
The guys that were dancing to it didn't like it.
Yes.
Fermezzo loved it. And then Fermezzo was like, he's like, they don't like it, but they'll like it one day. And they were like, yeah, all right, cool. But, I mean, but you work with composers to create music for your own stuff, Gwilym being one, Mika being another. And so how involved are they in the pre-planning of things? Or do you get music first before you start building some of the stuff?
Yeah, I'm looking at their little faces now. It's quite what I've learned over a bit of time. What works is that if we're sent a series of loops or initial ideas that are rolling around a theme or whatever, we can start with that. What we kind of need really is just one little essence of energy to know. But then the other thing is sometimes we try something to one thing and then the whole thing is made and we put new music afterwards. Or like, for example, with Mika and Cowpuncher, we some of it was just like really aggressive, violent sound effects of people's heads being smashed in. And then we didn't use that in the end, but it informed a lot of what we made. Yeah. Or, with like Dark Star and Gwilym with SGC, a lot of that was like this kind of, it was a lot about 4 a.m., so we were working with beats quite a lot, and sometimes things that were more methodical as well. I don't know, it's ever-changing.
Do you feel that, but a lot of the composers you work with have to make themselves pretty available to your process to be a part of it in the end? You couldn't just get music from someone and then just say, okay, I have the track, it's done. Like, they have to work with you to create it.
I think so. I think it's about it being an all-encompassing environment where everybody has the same goal at the center of the idea.
And you're just as much, I would imagine, for myself, it feels like I need to hear things wrong too.
Right.
Well, the things that won't work so that I know that they won't, and then I could check that box and
Right.
go to something
Yeah, I
that
think
might
so.
and stuff. But I feel that a lot of times, sometimes people don't know that that's actually the way that the best things get made.
Yeah. It's very annoying for everyone else, I guess. I think we should do They Should Just Let Us Rave, hey?
Okay.
I think we should do the little things, the little things. Let's do the little things.
You and I could walk together. You and I could talk together. You and I could have each other. You and I could touch each other, but we don't have time for the little things. No, there just ain't room for the little things. Why? You and I could fly together. You and I could hide together. You and I could see each other. You and I could love each other, but we don't have time for the little things. No, we don't have time for the little things, because life is full of important things. Life is full of necessary things. Life is full of big machines, and there just ain't room for the little things. Why?
I think that takes us back to music and rhythm.
I could watch that one on loop, I think. But also what I find really beautiful is how kind of tragic it is, you know?
Yeah.
And there's so much failure that exists within that little beautiful piece of comedy. And that's what strikes me, I think, the most.
But I think that it's amazing how that comes through sound too, you know? I mean, and knowing the story of knowing who Maradona is helps as well. But I mean, even if you didn't, you hear someone dying. And so, I mean, I think, but it's in a sense of like rhythm and choreography of tempos. There's so many multi-rhythms happening all at once between the tennis ball going up into the air, the wheezing, the edits of the cut itself, the music then coming in underneath. I mean, in and of itself, it's actually a piece of music that's made from these real sounds as well. And I guess, so for me, I think that kind of takes me back a little bit to just the concept of how we find our own voice in some of the things that we make as well, which we talked about earlier. And having your own rhythm that you put into something, or your own dancers having their own rhythm and working as part of a
You said
piece.
something really nice to me earlier, actually, about this sense of heartbeat, and you were talking about the measuring of time. Could you explain that again?
I get, yeah, I mean, I think that's
I mean, is
like,
it true? Is that true that time is that's how time is measured?
I mean, no, I think it's more that it's relative too, you know, like I think
Okay.
that you have your own way of, you know, seeing time pass based on how your own, I would imagine that Maradona probably feels it passing pretty slow.
Yeah, definitely there.
As his heart gets down to those final beats. But I think
Do you know what else I think it is that really strikes me is that I think context is everything, absolutely everything. And I think as soon as you put someone like that there, I mean, as soon as you put someone in or out of any context, it suddenly reads as something brand new. And I think that's what I love so much about that.
it's definitely a surprise to see it. I've actually never seen that film, so I'm not sure where it falls within the story itself. Is it completely out of nowhere?
Yeah,
And it just it just happens.
kind of. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's like that little beautiful, delicate sprinkling of a feeling, isn't it, really? It's not narrative, it's just like to express a moment in time or a feeling or a illness or something.
But it almost feels like a metronome clicking in a sense too, right?
Well, it
Like where
does.
it takes a moment out of whatever is happening around it, and it just resets the.
I wonder how
the
many
tempo.
times he had to. Anyway, let's do They Should Let Us Rave.
They should just let us rave. They should just let us rave. They should just let us rave. They should just let us rave. Nigga in the hacienda. Bitch, I ain't nobody meant to. Nigga in the hacienda. Gas up as soon as we enter. Nigga in the hacienda. Gas up as soon as we enter. Bitch, I ain't nobody meant to. Acid is on the agenda. Cash out as soon as it hit us. 24-hour attendance. Nigga in the hacienda. Bitch, I ain't nobody meant to. Ecstasies with the Facebook logo. So loco, yo, sucker, no sucker, bird, fucking her hoe, follow me, call her total. El Chapo, we chopping El Chapo. Alpaca and Acapulco. 6 sauce in this is Sunoco. Somebody open a window. They should just let us rave. 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 There will be noise complaints. They should just let us rave. There will be noise complaints. They should just let us rave. There will be noise complaints. They should just let us rave. There will be noise complaints. They should just let us rave. 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 Nigga in the hacienda. Gas up as soon as they enter. Bitch, I ain't nobody meant to. Acid is on the agenda. When acid be on the agenda, the LSD send me on business. All the info I try to remember. All I see is the color magenta. Once it took and I can't go and take it back. Pretend that I can't be no friend of that. Wonder hoodoo voodoo for your benefit. Please buy drugs on thugs and not the internet. Ain't no pretender. Facebook logo on the finger. Ask that bitch what did she enter. It's gonna be a happy ending. They should just let us rave. There will be noise complaints. They should just let us rave. There will be noise complaints. They should just let us rave. There will be noise complaints. They should just let us rave. There will be noise complaints. lick them into shape, 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 lick them into shape. Most of my friends got nothing sip, crafting brains and hustling check. Black out, maxed out, bashing fat. Speak out mind, hold nothing back. Most of my clique got nothing but beats and rhymes and cushions such. Racks and racks don't mean so much once one commits to crack shit up. No safety net, plot and scheme, no hasty acts. Class warfare can't hold us back. They attack and we react. Predominant, conglomerate, stick together and we stay dominant. Midnight or nap, marauding shit. Grip the mic and name us honor it. Predominant, conglomerate, stick together and we stay dominant. Lip tight, that brick and brawler shit. Grip the mic and name us honor it. I can't be sway. I can't be. Try me, try me. Trust me, trust me. Try me, try me. I can't be. Try me, try me. Trust me, trust me. Try me, try me. I can't be. Put up, hands up, don't you can't breathe. Hear death in songs we sing. Hate just spreads like memes, black breath more red and you're supreme. More red and fresh air in Beijing, more stare and flex red if they swing. More can guess they know new things, more where it's just in prayer and dreams. Stay dominant, work hard in it, bash the brains out, make them vomit. If they can't breathe then there's no harmony, hold rank until they honor it. Stay dominant, work hard in it, bash the brains out, make them vomit. If they can't breathe then there's no harmony, hold rank until they honor it.
Y'all got to get from behind the rope. Y'all can't stay behind the
I can't be sway. I can't be.
Everybody in the hallway, on the side, just come on in. Everybody, we want everybody here. Come on in.
talk that thug shit, constant consent to convict conscience. Come get together, get that ominous shit, opulent syntax and content. I can't be swayed, get bitch boy, I can't be played. That's bitch shit boy, I can't relate. Trigger for the minutes on your prepaid. Can't stand for that, no grants for that, no plans for that. Go cancel that, you'll never see my hand marked red for that. Never have ever caught a case for that, no place for that, no space, no time. Tell them I'm happy, tell them that I'm doing fine. Tell them that I'm lovely, tell them that I'm doing grand. No place better than the place that I am. Tell them that I'm happy, tell them that I'm doing swell. Anywhere travel through heaven or hell. Anywhere travel through heaven or hell. Anywhere travel through heaven or hell. Now you could be my heroine if you stood on your head and then convinced to be objectified and poke that booty out. And then you could be my heroine if you stood on your head and then convinced to be objectified and poke that booty out. And then
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. You've been watching 4-3 by Boiler Room in Everything is Choreography with Holly Blakey, Naomi Shimada, Clayton Vomero, and Naeem. Could you please give it up one more time for them?